Mercedes are hungry like the wolf, but Toto and his team are already looking past 2021. And Sebastian Vettel talks the tight tussle behind the top two in Formula 1 this season. I'm Ollie Wilson for GPFans, and this is the news from the weekend in Formula 1. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff has warned that focusing on chasing down Red Bull for the title this season may harm his team's championship chances for years to come. Red Bull and Max Verstappen marked their intention for this year's championship with a commanding pole position at the season-opening Bahrain Grand Prix, before Mercedes stole victory in the race from under the Dutchman's nose. With radical aerodynamic regulations being introduced for a new era of F1 next season, focus will need to turn to the development of the 2022 car at a date likely earlier this year than in previous campaigns. Mercedes stole a march on the rest of the field during the last major raft of regulation changes in 2014, with the introduction of V6 turbo hybrid power units, and Wolff has stressed the consequences of starting late on development for next year. I think this whole concept of let's switch off in order to get out of the blocks faster the following year is a bit of a tricky call, said Wolff. I think you need to just optimise every season, and particularly with next year's regulatory change. It's difficult to balance, because we don't want to lose this year, but we don't want to lose next year either, and starting late for next year means that you could potentially run behind the leaders for quite a while, not only a year. The answer is not trivial. The Silver Arrow's rear-end stability has left a lot to be desired, with the low-rate concept employed by the team no doubt hindered by the enforced downforce reduction over the winter. Even though Lewis Hamilton emerged victorious in Bahrain, the team is sceptical of its chances in Imola and Portugal, and Wolff has insisted work must be done to close the gap. It's very difficult to really get it right, and in a way, you can't sacrifice 2021 in the hope of having a more competitive race car and power unit next year. That is just not how it works, he added. I think everybody will be balancing their resources between the 2021 car and the 2022 car, including the power units, and we are the same. I guess at the moment, we need to keep some emphasis on this year's project, because we are behind. Elsewhere in the F1 paddock, Sebastian Vettel believes the fight behind Mercedes and Red Bull will be very tight this season, with the midfield seemingly even closer than last year's campaign. In 2020, McLaren emerged victorious in a year-long duel between itself, Racing Point and Renault, the latter teams now Aston Martin and Alpine. The timesheets in this year's winter testing suggested AlphaTauri and Ferrari had the pace to join the tussle, with the season-opening Bahrain Grand Prix confirming this to be true. In last year's battle, the balance of power swung with each race, and after a disappointing showing in Bahrain with Lance Stroll finishing 10th and Vettel 15th, the German hopes this will once again prove to be the case. Obviously, you always hope for the best, said the four-time champion. I think the big favourites are clear. It is Mercedes and Red Bull, and then we will see. I imagine at this stage it is going to be very tight behind them. In his final campaign with Ferrari, Vettel endured the worst season of his Formula 1 career, scoring just 33 points compared to the 98 scored by then teammate Charles Leclerc. Despite the difficulties, the German's ambition for success remains untarnished. Asked his personal targets for the year, Vettel answered, "To win all the races. Why bother finishing in the points? We need to be realistic." Well, we've only had one race this season, but what do you make of Toto Wolff's comments about looking ahead to 2022? And what do you make of Sebastian Vettel's chances of improving on his final year at Ferrari with his new-look Aston Martin team? Let us know in the comments section below, and to stay abreast of everything going on in Formula 1, don't forget to subscribe to the GPFans channel.